And the government's emergency aid package has been adopted by Parliament following a marathon session overnight. Let's get the latest from our Ottawa Bureau Chief, Mercedes Stephenson, who is following all the developments from the nation's capital. Mercedes, thank you so much for joining us as always. Now, this was supposed to be a quick pass through Parliament. Why the delays going up to this point?
So, Anthony, this had to do with some items and some language that were written into the bill that the opposition wasn't expecting. And that language and those parts of the bill would have given the federal government unprecedented power to tax and spend without the authority of Parliament, which means they wouldn't have had to come back to Parliament like they normally do for something like a budget to have Parliament vote on it and pass it. The opposition was furious. They said they weren't told that this was going to be included in the bill during negotiations, which have been pretty extensive. And they said that they simply were not willing to cede the authority of Parliament, of their jobs. At the end of the day, the fundamental job of an MP is to vote, and it's often to vote on things like finances. So they wanted some things changed in the bill, language changed, sunset clauses put in to limit how long the government would be able to spend like that, and some kind of oversight to make sure that the government wouldn't be able to take advantage of it. So after long, and I mean long negotiations, I was still up at 3 a.m. when they started heading back into that chamber, they managed to come up with a version that was agreeable to everybody. It still has the $82 billion in aid in it, the employment insurance benefits for people out there, the Canada Child benefits, money for the provinces, but it softened or took out most of the parts that dealt with giving essentially the government unchecked power. So now they will be able to recall Parliament if they need to. There's limits on how long they can spend for, and some parts that were giving power to the finance minister and to other cabinet ministers have been taken out completely.
Yeah, when you say everybody, we have to, I guess, set the scene because a small group of MPs giving this unanimous support, given the circumstances. Are we not correct?
That's right. There was only 33 MPs at one point. There was a rogue conservative who showed up because he said that he did not feel comfortable voting for legislation he'd never seen, that violated the fundamental role of an MP, and that he was willing to vote against it. At the end of the day, that didn't happen. It did pass with unanimous consent. One MP, Michael Chong, said he didn't agree with it. We're not clear on what parts exactly and why he didn't agree with it, but he still voted for it anyhow because he didn't want to be the person holding up that $32 billion, because as everyone was having, this deal hammered out, there was certainly a feeling of a lot of pressure on all sides, of urgency, of the need to get this package out to Canadians.
Yeah, and you underscore this. Really, everyone watching this wants the politicians in Ottawa to put politics behind really the more urgent need, and not to be flippant about this, but they're hoping as well, show me the money, because when is the money really going to start flowing? When do we see that?
That's a great question. We don't know exactly. It could be weeks. We know that what happens now is that it will go to the Senate this morning. The Senate will be sitting to pass it in a special sitting. And this doesn't happen with bills, right? Normally, we're talking months of it winding its way through, of debates, of committee studies, of multiple readings. All of that was wiped off the table. That's why they had to have unanimous consent to do a super expedited version to rush this through Parliament to the Senate. Everyone expects the Senate is going to pass this very quickly. And then it's just sort of a matter of actually getting the wheels in motion inside the bureaucracy for this to start happening and for the money to start flowing. So it's not going to be tomorrow, but certainly there will be an effort to do this in coming weeks as quickly as possible.
Well, everyone hoping for that relief soon. Mercedes Stephenson joining us from Ottawa. Mercedes, thank you so much.